my name is Jeff Anderson. I'm a writer for the MIT Entrepreneurship Review. Over the next few days, I will host a series of interviews with semifinals from MIT's 100K Business Plan competition. My first interview today is with Patrick Stern and Lakshmi from Sextant.wmv.
Sextant.wmv is a chemotherapy research and development company out of the Koch Institute at MIT. It's based on over 10 years of technology, and we have a revolutionary drug discovery platform technology that we think is going to change the way research gets done, both academically and, more importantly, in the pharmaceutical industry. So the same way that a sextant on a ship provides direction, provides point of reference, our modeling and profiling technologies will provide direction for chemotherapy. We think that with our technologies we can develop a better data set that will allow us to identify better drug targets and be more predictive in how these drug targets will behave in a human disease mouse model. Our platform technology began 12 years ago when I started trying to manipulate tumor cells that I've transplanted into a mouse. It's taken a long time to get to the point where we are now. It involves 4 different IPs that we filed with MIT. It's a number of small technical developments that add up to a new way of doing biological research when you transition from cells in a dish to cells in a mouse. Basically, cancer research is done either studying cells in a dish or studying cells that are already born into a mouse. We basically fill the space between. We can engineer cells in a dish, put them into a mouse, and manipulate them in such a way that we can extract much more interesting information. Turn the cancer gene on, turn the cancer gene off, turn the cancer gene on next to the other cancer gene. We can do things in a tumor now that we could never do before. To do any other way would take 3 years to develop the mouse. We can do it in 3 weeks. We can take an idea of, I think these 5 or 6 things might be important in cancer progression. We can test that and all around those 5 or 6 things in a few months. So we can significantly speed up the pace of research. Some of our other platform technologies also will allow us much greater insight. Our data sets are significantly better, on the order of 50-fold better than what anyone else can produce currently when you're looking at specific drug targets. How did I find my team? My team is made up of 3 people. Myself, I've been at MIT for grad school, postdoc. I'm now a research scientist. The other scientific member of my team has been at MIT for 7 years, and we've been friends for 7 years. We actually started an iPhone app company a year ago. It didn't go anywhere. And we've both been developing interesting technologies, but kind of living in our own little dungeon basements and focused on other things. I was basically stuck technically and needed to figure out how to push some of the resolution in my experiments further. I could set up really neat experiments, but I couldn't get out the information that I wanted. My partner, Eric, he is extremely good at extracting information from any biological system. And once we put our heads together, we realized that we had something really valuable. The business advice from my team is my wife, Lakshmi Balachandra, who has
I have a MIT Sloan MBA, and since then, I've been studying entrepreneurship, and I worked in venture capital prior to coming to MIT. So I pushed them to enter the 100K to really get this started, and so help them craft the business plan and help them think through how are they going to use, where are they going to get money from, all the practical steps to starting a business.
So, the big stress is money. Where are we going to get money from? Right now, we think we need about $3 to $5 million to light the fuse, and then we think we can become self-sustaining. If we can get $5 million, we already have people lined up, we already have everything in place that we just need to start turning the crank on a few experiments, and then we have sort of early stage things that we think we can market to therapeutics companies that they will be very interested in. Not compounds, just sort of methodologies and techniques. But we also have some really interesting places that we're discovering new biology and how dying cells communicate to the immune system. We're talking about novel drugs, we're talking 7 to 10 years, probably, but we think we have an entirely new way of looking at chemotherapy treatments and how you can recruit the immune system to suppress cancer.
I
had nothing
actually-
to do with the difficulties.
I just want to add to that, though. I mean, I think the challenges, one is definitely money. When I worked in venture capital, I worked primarily in technology companies, so the time frame is very different. The amount of money that you need is very different. So understanding just how expensive it is to even run their experiments, how much capital they need for, to do their experiments is a whole new ballgame. So that's one. I think the other thing that's been a challenge is really understanding what the business model is. So, at first they were talking about developing new chemotherapy drugs and patenting those and then selling those to companies, but the time frame for that is even longer. And so it's evolved since we first started building this business plan from being one of licensing new chemotherapy combinations to one of licensing technology itself.
The 100K has been absolutely fantastic. The 100K has probably advanced our timeline months, if not years.
Well, I think it's forced them to move from this very scientific, academic way of thinking of their technology to really thinking about how do we productize, how do we make this into a business.
They basically grabbed Rapunzel by the hair and
It's been incredibly valuable because they were having conversations for hours and hours before starting this, and then I pretty much booted them into let's apply, let's see if you can do this. And then being selected as a semifinalist has been just amazing in terms of, as Patrick was saying, the resources that the 100K has given us in terms of our mentors and the opportunities of just meeting other significant people, lawyers and VCs that, and some of the, I worked in venture capital, but still being able to have these refresher kind of seeing it from the other side is something I never knew. So some of the informative talks and so on have been really great. So I think, and having these very strict deadlines are incredibly useful for entrepreneurs when you're starting out, because it's so easy to let things go and to just keep talking and talking instead of putting things into action.